congrats on the series, and also fan of your work behind the camera. So nice to talk to you today.
Nice to talk to you too.
I want to start with, and I want to read this to make sure I get it right. How did your work as a documentary crew member on Popstar and Clocky in MacGruber help you prepare for the role of the Queen's Gambit?
That's funny. Yorma just asked me if I had spoken to you yet today. You know, the thing is every role plays a part in the greater puzzle of how you come to a role. And my small, insignificant parts in my husband's movies have really taught me a lot about how to take on Alma Wheatley.
Everyone I've been talking to recently, I've been asking the same two questions. I want to do this for you. What TV show would you love to guest, write, and direct?
I'm rewatching The West Wing right now, probably from a place of, you know, just wishing that that was more like our world. That would have been a fun one. I think like old shows, I look back at like shows like Taxi or like Cheers and think like, man, I wish I could go back and just direct an episode of one of those shows that I loved and grew up loving.
What movie do you think you've seen the most?
Either Waiting for Guffman or The Room.
Okay.
You know, I was a theater nerd, and so Waiting for Guffman was like our movie. We watched it at every party. It was sort of like in theater school, it was just on in the background every day because we felt very seen by that movie. All Christopher Guest movies, but particularly Waiting for Guffman. I grew up doing community theater in a small town here in the Bay Area. And so that movie really made me feel seen.
Jumping into why I get to talk to you today, I'm a big fan of Scott Frank, and I'm curious, as this was your first time acting in a while, I believe.
10 years, yeah, really.
So what was it like stepping on set? Because you have a really big part, but you're also been directing a lot recently. So how does that did that play any havoc with your mind when you're standing on set acting and you're like, oh, would I change that lens?
Scott and I are buddies. We've been friends. We met through the Sundance Labs and when I was making my first movie, The Diary of a Teenage Girl. And so I've visited him on sets before, and he's watched cuts of my movies. I've watched cuts of his things. We really have a relationship director to director, much more than director to actor. And so it was a very weird shift for me to show up on set and to be in actor mode. And I really tried to put my director hat aside and say, you know, I'm here to do one job. And for me, it was glorious. It was like, I got to, as a director, you have to think about everything. You are thinking about not only how the scene is going to play out, how the acting is going to go, what lenses you're going to use, how you're going to shoot it, but also the clouds, and are they going to move, and are we going to make lunch, and what about tomorrow, and do I need to rewrite that scene? And you have more things on your plate than I can possibly explain. And as an actor, you get to come in and be incredibly focused on one thing, and you have to do that well, but you have to do one thing. And so for me, it was great because Scott would say like, okay, so I know this scene looks weird. We're going to do this in VFX. And I'd go, Scott, not my problem. I don't care. I'm not thinking about that. I don't have to go to your VFX meeting. I don't have to look at those proofs. I'm good. Like it made me, I felt this lightness where I didn't have the weight of that responsibility on my shoulders. But he and Steven Meisner, the DP, would tease me all the time. I would come in and they'd go, so how would you film this? Oh, well, I guess Mari could have shot this better. You know, there was a constant, or they'd look at me and go, what do you want to say? Give us the note. You know, I would be like, no, I'm not backseat directing, I swear.
That's great. One of the things that I really responded to about the series is the fact that there's no villain, that the mom is not some evil person, that the other chess players are not out to get her or steal. I mean, it's just, it's refreshing. And the villain is Anya trying to overcome herself.
Yeah, you know? She's got her own struggles with her own mind that she has to overcome. And it's really, in that way, that's why it is such a coming of age story. And it's about her relationship with herself and what it is to be a woman, I think, too. You know, part of what I loved about my character being such a complex, not villain, but not a perfect mother figure in any way. And also, you know, Beth's real biological mother, both of us are these sort of like cautionary tales of who you don't want to be. I'm this alcoholic mother who never got to fulfill her dreams, who's been locked in a loveless marriage. And then she has her biological mother who pretty much went crazy. And you just think like, these are her examples of womanhood. These are who she could become. And she has to forge her own path and find a way to really be herself. And it takes her a long time, but she gets there.
You guys got to film in Berlin. And
yes.
right, yeah. One of the things about the series is like the incredible production design. And it's just, there's like, as I've been saying in other interviews, but there's like no weak link in this chain, from the cinematography to the production design to everything.
I mean, I can't believe it's not all we're talking about. It's just how beautifully the show is shot and how beautifully it's designed. I could just talk about that all day. Berlin was an incredible place for locations, but the production designer just did an incredible, Uli just did such a beautiful job as well. I mean, you are transported back in time, and we were able to film scenes that were Russia and Mexico City and Vegas all in Berlin. And it really just put all of us, I mean, I recognize, because I'm a director, how much work goes into the moment that an actor arrives on set and goes, well, look at this is cool. And it's like, oh, it's taken a year of work to get to that moment where we get to film that scene. And for me, it was like a present every day, because I would just get to show up and be like, cool, where are we going today? And show up to these beautifully decked, even scenes like going shopping in a department store, like a 1950s department store. And it was just, the lushness of the design was so beautiful. It was wonderful.
As I was watching it, I was just, when you get to be transported like that, it's just, it adds so much.
And I think right now in this moment in time, this show is a really fun escape for that reason.
Yep.
We're all locked in our houses, and to actually get to just watch this beautiful, I mean, it's such a compelling story, but it's also just a beautifully shot and designed show.
I know you have What the Constitution Means to Me, which is coming up for you. But I'm curious if there's any other directing projects that are coming up for you besides that one.
I have a project called 5 Women that I've been developing, but that we're not going to be able to film until the world opens back up. We were really lucky with What the Constitution Means to Me that we finished filming, I think, a week before the shutdown happened. And and projects like Queen's Gambit had that happen as well, where we were done filming it, and you can really do a lot of post editing and sound work during this quarantine, but it's a lot harder to shoot. And I have a newborn, so I'm not going into production anytime soon, but when I do, 5 Women will be the first thing that I do.
Got it. On that note, I need to stop. I'm just going to say congrats on this project and everything else. And I'm sure I'll talk to Norma soon.
Yeah.
Later. Have a good day.
Great to talk to you. Bye.